Ethan once told me he could make ghosts go away with a single touch. At the time, I thought he was flirting. Turns out, he was just telling the truth, which is much more inconvenient than it sounds. The night we met, I was hiding in the back of a coffee shop in Portland, trying to pretend I was fine. My last breakup had left me with an emotional hangover, the kind that makes you suspicious of every warm smile. And then he walked in, dark hair damp from the rain, eyes like they had already read my soul, and that half-smirk people only wear when they know they have you cornered without even trying. He asked if the seat across from me was taken. I said yes, even though it wasn't. He sat down anyway. I'd like to say I was immune to his charm, but I wasn't. We talked for hours. I learned that he wasn't just some quirky guy with a love for old books and herbal tea. He was a warlock. Not in the cosplay Renaissance fair kind of way, but in the I can banish malevolent spirits before breakfast kind of way. It was absurd. It was intoxicating. And somehow it was exactly what I needed. By our third date, I was already tangled up in something deeper than I could handle. His apartment was a shrine of contradictions, dusty grimoires stacked beside mismatched coffee mugs, incense smoke curling around jars of something that looked suspiciously like preserved organs. He swore they were just magical ingredients, which did not comfort me. But every time he touched my hand, I forgot to care. The trouble was, his work never let him breathe. We'd be halfway through a movie, and his phone would buzz a client with a haunted attic, a cursed object, a vengeful spirit. I'd watch him pull on his coat, mutter an apology, and disappear into the night. At first, I told myself it was noble, even romantic. Dating a hero, right? But heroes are never home. One night, after he left me alone at a restaurant for the second time in a week, I decided I'd had enough. I walked out into the rain without paying for my wine, half hoping he'd come running after me. He didn't. I didn't hear from him for 3 days. Then, just when I'd convinced myself I'd been ghosted, literally, there was a knock at my door. He stood there, soaked to the bone, with eyes that looked like they hadn't seen sleep in days. "I almost died," he said, like it was a casual update. I didn't know whether to slap him or hug him. I did both. That night, we didn't talk much. We just lay there, his heartbeat a stubborn drum against my ear. He smelled faintly of sage and smoke. I wanted to tell him I was terrified of losing him to the world that needed him more than I did. But I didn't, because part of me knew that was the price of loving someone like him. And then the night came when it almost broke me. We had planned a weekend away, just the two of us, no magic, no phone calls. We even made it to the cabin. The air smelled of pine, and for a moment, I thought maybe the world could leave us alone. But then, just as we opened a bottle of wine, his expression shifted. "There's something here," he whispered. Before I could protest, he was out the door, flashlight in hand. I followed, because I'd learned by then that if I didn't, I might not see him again until morning, or worse, at all. What I saw in the woods that night doesn't feel real when I think about it now. The air rippled, and shapes emerged, faces twisted in grief, voices like whined through broken glass. Ethan stood there, chanting words I couldn't understand, and the darkness bent around him. I wanted to scream, but I also wanted to hold onto the sight of him like that, fierce, unyielding, beautiful in a way that had nothing to do with skin or bone. When it was over, he collapsed. I caught him before he hit the ground. We didn't talk on the drive back. We didn't need to. I understood him now in a way I hadn't before, the constant pull between what he wanted and what the world demanded from him. And maybe, in some twisted way, that made me love him more. Months later, we're still figuring it out. His phone still rings at dinner. Sometimes he still leaves in the middle of the night. But now, when he comes back to me. Love, I've learned, isn't about having all of someone's time. It's about knowing the parts you get are worth everything you give. And Ethan, my stubborn, sleepless, beautiful warlock, is worth all of it. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with the latest videos.